my favorite memories of Bob are going over to his house to do an edit. And he would have, now he has CD players, then he had turntables. And he'd be playing record after record after record. And he'd play from an African, record, a high life record, to a reggae record, to a Plasmatics new album, to John Coltrane. You'd sit in his house and hear a medley of music just flow through. He literally listened to almost everything he got.
Bob continues to sort of get his records in the mail or go to record stores and feel excited at the notion of what he might be getting, and that's an extremely unusual quality. And what it's led him over the course of the 30 years or so he's been doing this is to champion such a wide range of artists and often be interested in people long before there's any kind of critical consensus around them, whether it's on the one hand African music or on the other hand a 1990s indie rock group like Modest Mouse.
We're gonna grade your paper here, Christgau. Was it making sense to us all the way through? We just want a 60-word paragraph here.
Modest Mouse is one of the few bands currently working that makes me think that there's anything to the so-called alternative/indie scene.
Skirting the professional class they were born to for a poverty that's real if voluntary.
These three youngsters are probably wise asses, probably thieves.
But their songs never quit, even when they're divided into the kind of stylistic segments that usually irritate the hell out of me.
Although their glimpses of a cockroach world living on its own discards may seem jejune to some and homely to others, the lyrics are observed, informed, and explicit enough. In fact, as brave and beautiful as the blues.
But I gotta say, I went to see them and I thought they were boring as hell. I didn't like their show at all. The classic wanko, long solos.
Oh, I just gave him an A-. That's, it's good. You gotta have him something to work towards.
The thing about journalism is, whereas an artist has to, they have to sell themselves every time out. In journalism, you're part of a product. The responsibility for the sales really lies with the product, not with you. You never have that sense of, am I reaching them or not?
The most important thing to me that Bob wrote when I was growing up were the two essays of his in the Rolling Stone Illustrated History of Rock and Roll. He wrote about Chuck Berry and about Al Green, and also about the Rolling Stones, so three. The Chuck Berry piece particularly was one that made me want to write about rock and roll, write about popular culture. It was one that made me want to take pop culture seriously. There was a little point in the Chuck Berry piece where he basically says that he has no interest in a theory of art that doesn't have a place for Proust and Chuck Berry.
Why is there a divided camp? I guess because there's a lot of, pompous people in the world who are overeducated and like to, put a lot more meaning into pop music and like to, compare it to Thomas Carlyle.
I told him once a friend of mine loved reading his column, which I don't do too often because he doesn't need to have a bigger head. But the curious thing about this friend of mine was that he never listened to rock and roll at all. He was sort of adamantly a classical music person, no poetry, a scholar of some kind. I can't remember now. But Bob was so pleased that this guy read the column because that's what he likes to do, is be able to write for people that don't like, the meat puppets and don't know all the tons of trivial things that he knows about bands, that just like his criticism.
I think the totality of Bob's career as a critic and as a writer himself and as an editor is, one of the more influential careers in the terms of American pop criticism, and that he will go down as one of the central figures in creating and helping sustain the idea of not just rock criticism, but criticism of pop culture, which is really, what really we're talking about.
Well, that I've been to the Spice Girls, and the Spice Girls turned out to be all 9 and 10-year-olds with their moms. The Backstreet Boys was the real girl teen thing. It was all girls 13 to 17 making that noise that you see in Beatles documentaries, you know? Hey, that high. It's an amazing sound. It's just an amazing sound. My enthusiasm for music is, for all practical purposes, undiminished. What is diminished is the intensity with which I can access any particular piece of music, or how much any particular piece of music can mean in my life. Having already accessed 5,000 or 10,000 pieces of music in a pretty intense way, the 5,001st or 10,001st just isn't going to do as much as the 51st or the 101st. It can't. I don't know if you really want to do this, but the way I go home is I walk down the stairs. And also, my life can't be changed because there's more of it. It gets harder and harder to change one's life as one gets older because the bulk of one's life becomes bigger. Those are natural factors of the aging process. But as far as the enthusiasm for music, no, that's my great gift. I love music.